This is the Bates Bobcast, our weekly podcast where we take a look at the week that was in Bates athletics. My name is Aaron Morrison. This week we chat with Mike Milliken, Bates Manager of Community Wellness and Club Sports, about how the Bobcat community can use the Be Well program to stay active this fall, even during a pandemic. That's coming up on the Bates Bobcast. Mike Milliken runs the Be Well program at Bates for faculty and staff. This fall, with opportunities to meet in person severely curtailed by the novel coronavirus, Be Well has moved online, and students can join in on the remote program, ranging from virtual boot camps to a variety of yoga sessions and more. Happy to have Mike Milliken with us here on the Bobcast. He is the Manager of Community Wellness and Club Sports at Bates. And obviously in this remote era we're kind of in terms of a number of different things in people's lives. That includes physical fitness. And Mike, you just kind of give us an overview of how things are changing with the Be Well program for staff and how students can also get involved socially distanced from in their dorm rooms, from staff in their own house, and so on and so forth this fall.
Yeah, so like many people, we had to evolve and change our programming with the wellness program. And so essentially a big component of the program has been group fitness classes and personal training. I mean, exercise is a big piece of wellness, and it's definitely something that we try to drive home. And given the concerns around social distancing, face coverings, following CDC guidelines, it's difficult to do in-person classes. And so we've moved essentially all of our classes to a virtual format, which is available for staff, faculty, and it's also open to students. So it's really anyone in the Bates community is welcome to join, and the more the merrier.
What are some programs you're particularly excited about for this fall? Either some new programs or some reimagined ones, perhaps?
Sure. So I'll start with one of our staples is a boot camp style class, which I would describe as a higher intensity interval training around functional fitness. So basic moves like squats and push-ups and jumping jacks, high knees. It's blending strength training with some aerobic training. And that has been reimagined to a body weight format, whereas before we were using equipment like kettlebells and dumbbells and bands, but now with the virtual option, we've gone body weight, and so we've reimagined that. We've also expanded our yoga offerings. So yoga is something that we can do really without any equipment besides maybe a mat. And so we have several different types of yoga. So we have everything from athletic flows, so higher intensity, quicker moving, to restorative yoga sessions. So we're running the gamut there, and I'm definitely excited to be able to offer more variety in terms of the style of yoga.
What are some programs you have for people who maybe haven't gotten involved with Be Well in the past?
Sure. I would start with one of the yoga classes. Yoga is a terrific place to start, but the other thing you could do is reach out and chat with me, and I would be happy to point you in a direction that might fit. I'm a big fan of everybody having a movement practice, and that doesn't necessarily need to be a traditional exercise session or a virtual exercise session. Walking outside or getting outside, hiking, stretching on your own, whatever it may be, those are great options. We also just put together a outdoor fitness trail, which it's about a 1 mile loop around campus that has 5 different stations. They're all body weight based. And so that might be something to start out with.
And I understand there's some plans for some enhancements to that trail as we go along, right?
Not just the trail itself, but we do have some plans to develop a fitness park between the outdoor tennis courts and Underhill. And so that will have some equipment and a flooring space, which will allow people to do some more traditional exercises like pull-ups and step-ups and some push-ups on a bar. So that will definitely enhance some of the facilities and allow people to exercise outside.
I think something to emphasize, I think that some of your emails you sent to staff talking about, some of the virtual options and whatnot, people, they don't have to see anyone else, right? I mean, their camera can be off. How does that kind of work?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think I can understand why some people may have some apprehensions about, logging on and having their screen visible on Zoom. Most participants elect to hide their screen. So one of the benefits really is you can do it wherever you have an internet connection and you don't necessarily have the concern about other people looking at you and judging you. And not that that would necessarily be the case in person, but it is an extra layer of just security. You can kind of do it, wherever you are, and you don't have to actually display yourself.
Excellent. And you don't run all the classes, you run some of them, but you have some other people who are helping you out. Tell us about your army, might be the wrong word, but your number of staff members helping you out with this program, right?
Yeah, for sure. So we have several different instructors, and some of them are actually Bates community members. So Rachel Forcello, who just graduated, is a yoga instructor. And so she's running a few different yoga classes. And then we have community members in the Lewiston Auburn community who are teaching some of these classes. Heidi Audette, who runs Chill Yoga in downtown Lewiston. She's running one of the classes, as well as Lydia Burnham, who is a longtime partner of the Be Well program. And she's a yoga instructor at several different studios between Lewiston and Portland. So those are the folks who are on the agenda right now. We also have a student yoga instructor, Katya Ryan, who will be added to the schedule shortly. And we may be looking at, there's some other students who are certified to teach yoga and some different styles of classes, which we may be adding to the agenda as things progress.
Great. How are you working with the athletic department? Because I know you also manage club sports. Obviously, club sports probably not happening this fall, but I mean, how have you been working with the athletic department kind of?
Sure. Yeah. So I have been helping out to manage club sports. It's, of course, is looking a lot different, and it essentially, at least for the next few weeks, is going to be focused on strength and conditioning. So being able to promote some of these programs as potential resources for some of the club athletes is something that we'll do. But essentially what I'm doing is trying to support them to stay engaged while they can't compete intercollegiately. And, virtual fitness is definitely going to be a component of it, but also just helping to guide them in some club enriching activities that are going to progress their club along that aren't necessarily competition based, such as writing a constitution or developing a committee on equity and inclusion, fundraising, connecting with alums, that kind of stuff.
In terms of contacting you, in terms of the website and whatnot, where should staff kind of look for more information on what programs might fit them, perhaps?
Sure. I would check out the Be Well website. So bates.edu/B, it's just the letter B, well. And you can find the Be Well calendar, which is where you would access live classes. There's also on-demand classes. So if you want to go back and sort of look at what a class looks like or take a class via YouTube, there's an on-demand section there. We're also on Instagram, so we're starting to promote some of our programming on Instagram. So if you look up Be Well at Bates on Instagram, we're there, and we've sort of had the lights turned off for a little bit, but we're more active now, and so we'll be promoting what's going on a little bit more regularly. Of course, you can always reach out to me via email or look me up in the directory and give me a call.
A little bit about your background, perhaps. How did you first end up coming to Bates as a staff member here?
Yeah, good question. So I actually started out as an intern back in 2007. I did a community health education degree at UMaine Farmington, and I interned as the wellness intern, and I'm still here. So the timing was right. I think people were receptive to the concept of wellness programming, and that the program has grown over the last decade. And I've just, I'm still here, and I've had the pleasure of being at Bates for my career.
And how have you seen the program kind of evolve since you started here?
Yeah, so we've definitely expanded from it. At its core, it started as a fitness program. So fitness classes, personal training. I have a background in personal training. And so it started as a fitness-based program, but we really evolved into a more holistic approach. So we've offered mindfulness-based stress reduction, nutrition, sleep, community engagement type programming. We've also offered some, mental health type programming around, dealing with some of the struggles of maybe caring for an elder adult or a child with special needs. And so we've tried to expand the program to reach different dimensions of health, from physical, mental, into emotional, all with kind of this idea of tying together the community. And one thing that's really cool about the program is the events and classes, they attract people from all sorts of different departments and representations from the campus community. And so it's been a camaraderie builder for the campus, especially over the last few years.
What's your favorite class to teach?
Well, for me, it's the boot camp. That's definitely been my bread and butter. That's evolved over the years. One thing I really do miss about doing it in person is I got to curate the playlist, and based on some of the attendees, I could really get them fired up based on the playlist choices that I had. And so I do miss that. But yeah, I think for me, it's been the boot camps.
Has going virtual been harder than you thought, easier than you thought? How has that process gone for you?
Well, it was easier at first. I was surprised at how simple it was to move on to Zoom, but there's limitations, of course. Not everyone has equipment, so we're sort of limited to body weight. But given the times, it's a really nice way to connect with people, despite it being it's not going to match in person, but it's another way that Bates can connect with one another. Aside from the physical components of it, I think it is a really nice way to be able to connect.
Great. Well, any other thoughts about the virtual offerings here?
No, I would just say give it a try. You can do it anywhere where you have an internet connection. So it doesn't have to be a dorm room or an apartment. If you can, get outside, socially distance, and following campus policies, of course. But if you have an internet connection, you can join. Would really encourage people to at least give it a try. Of course, there's several different virtual fitness options out there beyond the Be Well program, like Peloton and
Sure.
The Down Dog app. So there's tons of apps out there. But one thing that's unique about this is it's for the Bates community. So I'd highly encourage just giving it a go. And if you like it, stick around. And if not, then no worries. Look up F45challenge.com. So we have a partnership with F45, which is a functional training virtual platform that is free to anyone with a bates.edu email address. So they have on-demand programming. Every day there's a new workout. Follow along. It's definitely a higher intensity style of exercise, but I think you might like it. So check that out. Again, we have a partnership with them. So I'd highly encourage giving that a go as well.
All right, Mike Milliken, thank you so much for joining us on the Bobcast. Again, folks, bates.edu/B-well. So B-well, and for more information there. Mike, thanks again for joining us on the Bobcast. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Next time on the Bates Bobcast, we'll continue to check in with more folks helping Bates safely return to campus. There may be no sports this fall, but it's all a team effort. That's next time on the Bates Bobcast.